presents to you Honest Talk.
Hi folks, today we are back with one more great and leading personality, Mr. Anand Tamboli. Anand is an entrepreneur and innovation expert who is obsessed with bringing ideas to life and make them work for everyone. For the past 20 years, hundreds of businesses and thousands of individuals have been able to see the impact of Anand's work in helping them bring their ideas to life. He is a professional speaker and is passionate about sharing his experience and loves to inspire. Anand specializes in areas that are at the intersection of technology and people. As an executive coach, Anand often works with entrepreneurs, helping them make their ideas and strategies a reality. He also coaches high-caliber professionals, speakers, and leaders for building their thought leadership brand. He is an award-winning author with a few books under his belt. In 2019, IoT Hub Australia nominated him for the IoT Pioneer Award. In December 2019, Consensus Group Australia honored him with the Best Author of the Year award. So, let's begin our talk with our today's guest, Mr. Anand Tamboli.
So first of all, I welcome you to in this session. Thank you so much, sir, for joining and agreeing to share your thoughts with us. We are extremely very happy to have you for today's talk.
My pleasure.
Thank you so much, sir. It's our pleasure too. So, sir, moving to the topic of today's session, which we have chosen is innovation, transformation, and entrepreneurship. Sir, being an entrepreneur, what do you believe? What can be the role of innovation and technology on entrepreneurship, especially in developing countries?
All right. See, these words, entrepreneurship or transformation, innovation, these words are pretty big, so to speak. Like, you cannot pinpoint that innovation and entrepreneurship, this is how it works. It's all process and there's a lot that goes into it. But when you look at the entrepreneurship as one thing, what does it entail? What it means is essentially being able to create something that adds value to your economy, to your society, and overall ecosystem. That entrepreneur has to do. If you're simply selling a product, getting it from someone or from your vendors or suppliers and selling it for making a profit, then you're simply a businessman, right? And then there are a number of businessmen who just buy and sell things. It's a trade that happens. The difference between typical businessman and entrepreneur is essentially entrepreneur taps into untouched markets or untouched areas of life and work and economy, where they make those new connections to create some positive impact. So there is a positive impact in terms of there is some novelty in the product, in the service. There is also new mode of income, so to speak. So people have new way of doing something, new way of earning money, new way of spending money, new way of experiences that exist. And third part is entrepreneurs by that nature also create wealth. So it's not just the transaction, the overall impact, net impact is always positive. That's what the entrepreneurship is. Now what happens is when someone has to become an entrepreneur, the typical thought process that goes into mind is what product can I make, what service can I deliver, what problem can I solve. And in these days at least, there doesn't seem to be something as novel or as inventive that doesn't exist. All the inventions possibly could have been done are done. So you don't really have to invent another light bulb, right? Or you don't have to invent another World Wide Web. Those have been there. So what an entrepreneur can do, and then the tendency is to fall back on traditional things. Okay, let me go and do some e-commerce, which has been there for now 10 years at least. Let me go and do something this. And that's where people start to get into businessman mode and not stay into the entrepreneurship mode. But if you're innovative, then you can make most out of this entrepreneurship. You can add that positive value. And by innovation, I mean it is improving human life. So it's a broad term. What is innovation? What do you call as innovative? Because it adds some value. It's not just the new way of doing something. It's a new way, and it adds some value, whether it saves time, whether it saves money, whether it is about giving you better experience, whether it is about reducing pain, or all of these. So when you do something in a novel way, in a different way, and it results into these benefits, or it avoids those negative consequences, then you say, well, this is innovative method, this is innovative thing. So as a developing country, the advantage that entrepreneurs have is the constraint of resources, right? So we don't, when I come from a very resource constrained background in a remote part of India, we had nothing to spare. So when you talk about, say, how do I do something, and without having this and this, you start to think differently, you start to wire those things differently. And that's where entrepreneurs need to look for. They don't have to look for, hey, I don't have funding, I don't have these resources. Look for what you have and how can you replace them for what you don't have. That will give you an edge over typical businesses. You become innovative, and also because you are set out to add some value, real value in people's lives, you are actually becoming an entrepreneur and not staying as a businessman. So being in a developing country, using this innovation to do your entrepreneurship, this is how these three things actually work.
So it was really a very great answer from your side, and I think the example you have taken is really very helpful for the viewers. Those who are watching this session, they are going to learn many things from it. Sir, my next question to you, as you have talked about the innovation, sir, what do you believe the importance of innovation? What does it mean for a business and our society?
So what does innovation mean to business or society, or both, right? If you are doing the same thing, what you have been doing before, then you are not being innovative. That's number one. And you essentially, you're not adding any value. And by that I mean, look, every time as the world evolves, the society evolves, new things come up, new people come up. Those who were children a few years ago, now they're adults. The adults have become older. The problems have changed. Every single day you get to see a new problem, right? 1 year ago, whatever problem you had personally, let's say with transportation or with telephone network or anything, that's no more a problem. You have a different problem now. So problems are changing. But if the business doesn't change, right? If I was selling something last year, and if I'm still selling the same thing, and this is with the due assumption that you have covered all the ground, then now your product is pretty much old, right? Because now the problem has changed, so your solution has to change. If your solution doesn't change, that means you are not adding any value to your economy, and obviously you will also not make any money if you are looking at from business perspective going forward, because eventually people wouldn't need what you are selling. So as a business, you need to continuously innovate. You need to continuously look at us, how the problem that we were solving a year ago or 2 years ago, has that changed? Has the goal changed? And if that has changed, then how do I change my product, my solution, my service? If I don't, then over the period of time, you will see that the problem is this way and your solution is this way. There is this gap widens. So as a business, that definitely needs to continuously look at what is changing across the economy, within your target market, within your segment that you work in, and continuously innovate. So that definitely I would recommend people keep doing.
All right, sir. Again, it was really a very wonderful answer, and indeed, I think it has covered all the points related to the innovation and why it is important for our society to. Sir, my next question to you: what do you believe as being an entrepreneur? What will be the future of entrepreneurship?
Look, this is the question, not the question, but the term, the future of. These days it seems that people just use these three words and add the fourth word behind it, the future of, and then you pick and choose your words. The future of entrepreneurship. I think in this particular case, at least, it's quite the opposite. Entrepreneurship is the future, right? There was a time when and I'm talking about like 200 years ago, for instance, pretty much everybody was entrepreneur, right? If you look at economy that we had in the country in 1800 or prior to that, everybody was doing their own stuff, own business, whether it's a farmer, whether it's an ironsmith, blacksmith, tailor, whatever that might be. Everybody was doing that. There were only very few people who were working for a king, for instance, right? Working in a government job. And there was no industrial job, there was no corporate job. So either you were an entrepreneur or you were working for a government. Over the period, that has changed. The industrialization has changed it, and more people have moved towards becoming corporate employees, right? So now we have got the second category. In last century, we have got the government employees, which was there earlier. Those who were self-employed or entrepreneurs, they stayed there, and we created that new one, which was corporate employees. But those businesses essentially expanded that category for the profit making, of course, and those entrepreneurs started to reduce in number. So if you hear people talking about that 20 years ago or 50 years ago, the trend was to leave farming, leave those jobs in villages or whatever work people used to do in village. The dream was to go in the city and get a corporate job, right? Get a white collar job, earn more money and all that. Now the thing is, that is changing. That is significantly changing and drastically changing. So, and this particular example I give quite often is, if you look at the business's primary motive is to make profit, right? And that's something which people have accepted. It's not a rule, it's not a law, but just that, okay, if you're doing business, you must be making profit. What is profit? What is efficiency? Whatever input you have and the output you produce, there has to be a positive difference, right? So if you're selling some item, you're selling a service for $100, it should only cost you, say, $50 for you. Then only you will be able to make 50 as a profit. And the efficiency also has to be. Now the question is, if I want to maximize my profit, I need to reduce my input, right? I need to reduce my input, I need to reduce my cost. Then only I can maximize profit. If the business has to grow, I need to reduce the input. What is the input to the business? If it is a products company, then it's a raw material and it's a manpower, the working overhead, the workers, the factory, the floor, and etc. If it is a service, then there's less of a raw material, but more of my input is manpower, right? So all the white collar jobs, people are my biggest cost. Employees, their salaries is my biggest cost. Which means if I have to improve my business, right, I need to reduce my cost. And which is what you're seeing, that people are losing jobs. Because then the AI, the automation, the robotic processes, a number of things come in, which essentially show the business that, look, you have got 20 people or 100 people doing this thing, and so your profit is so and so. Let's reduce that 100 number to 50 or say 20. Let the robot, let the AI, let this automation do it faster. Which means you will be able to save money on 80 people, right? And that increases profit. So it is good for business. If business want to make profit, that's what they should be doing. What it means to those 80 people? What are those 80 people going to do? And the common answer, probably people will think, okay, they will find another job. Well, but you forgot that every business is thinking like that. Even other businesses are also shelling out 80 people, 100 people. So that is now going to happen one more time. It is happening already, and in a lockdown period, you would have already seen lots of people have lost their job because the automation and this reasoning and all that will continue. So what does it mean to those 80 people? What does it mean to all of us? It means now we have to take care of ourselves. There is no corporate job. So either you go and do work in government, which again, it's a saturated market, so to speak. Not everybody can go and do a government job. So what will you do? You'll have to come back and start your own. It may be a small shop, it may be a small factory, it may be small unit, small solar, whatever that is. You are going to be again entrepreneur. That is the future. You have to become entrepreneur. You have to become innovative. You have to tap into the gaps and find out opportunities for yourself. And the key message here is, do not wait for that to happen. If you have lost job, that's unfortunate, but you need to take action. But even if you haven't lost your job, do not wait for that to happen. It may happen any point in time. Any point in time. You better start preparing for it now. Entrepreneurship takes time, so you better start early, as soon as you can. But this is the future. So entrepreneurship is the future.
It was really a very wonderful answer from your side. And sir, you made many good points. One which I like the most is that entrepreneurship is future. Sir, my next question to you, do you believe prioritizing digital transformation is a need of an hour?
It depends on the context as to where you want to do digital transformation. So let me ask this question quickly, is when you say digital transformation needs to be prioritized, for whom are we talking about?
Sir, basically from the technical field to non-technical field also, because we have seen during this lockdown that the trend, it was just like some type of digital revolution, because the things which we are doing offline now, everything, most of the things schools, colleges, from a local shop, everything came online. So if we talk about general perspective, then can we say that now in every field we have to work towards in digital transformation?
Yes. Okay. So partly yes. So there are areas where we need to digitally transform, use technology to our advantage. That is for sure. That there is no doubt about it. But also what we need to be mindful of, and we as in every individual, every small business, including the big businesses, is what are you automating? Where are you deploying your technology? For doing what? That question needs to be asked. Because remember, technology is the enabler. We use technology because there's something which we cannot do as a human, right? We only use, say, calculator if you have a very tough calculation to be done, right? But if someone asks you 2 plus 2, you are not going to pick up a calculator to do it. That's waste of time, waste of money, and also waste of the human resource. You're not using somebody's brain power in that case. So same way, when it comes to digital transformation, ask this question: is it really necessary to transform or automate or use technology here, or a human being will do a better job? And if the answer is no, human cannot do a better job, then probably you might think about going to use the technology. Like, let's say, for example, a lot of companies which are using chatbots, right? Or IVR system, right? IVR is the classic example. You make a phone call to your telephone company, and the first thing is you keep pressing buttons, right? For doing this, press one. For doing that, press two, and it just that's where you get stuck. So that's a digital transformation, but useless because all the people who are calling are not happy. It's not helping customer. It may be saving money for business, but not helping customer. So avoid doing that if you get that choice. Like if you don't like to be treated like this, you shouldn't be even doing that, right? So digital transformation is necessary, but where we do that, in what context we do it, we have to be very mindful.
All right, sir. Sir, my next question to you: being an entrepreneur, what do you believe? What are the most important skills to be an entrepreneur?
Right. Okay. There could be a number of skills, I would say, for becoming an entrepreneur. There's a range of skills, right? So let's pick a few to begin with. The first thing is, if you want to become an entrepreneur, it has to start with your thinking. You have to think like an entrepreneur, which means you have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. So if something is ambiguous, if it doesn't feel quite comfortable, you have to be okay with it. This is what entrepreneurship is going to be. Number two is you have to, at least in this current world and futuristic world, will have to be more eco-oriented. Ecology. It's not just about how do I make money. It's about how do I add value to my society, my country, my ecosystem, right? Can I do something, or if I do it, then will it create pollution? And if it does, then probably I shouldn't be doing it. So having that mindset, the right mindset, is highly important. Of course, the skills come into play, such as knowing the finance, knowing the how to sell, how to market. Those things are easy to do. You can go online, do some courses, you can learn it easily. But in terms of characteristics, you need to be passionate about whatever you want to do, because that is the only thing that will keep you on the path of being entrepreneur. Because every time something goes down, a failure occurs, we start to feel like, okay, why am I doing this? I shouldn't be doing it, or let me just let go of it. And that happens only if you're not passionate about it. If you're passionate, you don't care. You say, that is fine, I'll keep going. Because that's what, as an entrepreneur, you will need to have a passion to move forward even if something fails. Of course, there has to be a logic as to when you move forward and when you don't. But that's part of the logic being there. And yeah, you have to be genuinely interested in solving the problem. That is one of the biggest things I've seen with startups, especially, that they're so in love with the solution. Like they have developed an app or there's a product they created, and they say, okay, this is a wonderful product we have created. But does it solve problem? Does it solve problem in a right way? Is there a better way to solve problem? Right? And your product may not be the solution. Solution could be something else. And if that is the case, then you will feel bad if you are loving your solution, because now someone is saying that the solution is not good enough. But if you, as an entrepreneur, love the problem of your customer, then the tone changes. You say to your customer that, hey, look, this is your problem. I would solve this problem no matter what, by whatever it takes, right? So I may give you an app, or I may give you a product, I may give you something else, but I will solve your problem. So I'm focusing on problem, not on the solution. Solution will come. So focusing on a problem is another characteristic that as an entrepreneur, everybody needs to have. Persistence is another way, another key aspect. But then persistence is in having that passion go hand in hand. You can't persist if you don't have passion.
Again, sir, it was really very wonderful answer. Sir, I don't want to take you much time. So, moving to my last question of this session, sir, do you believe this entrepreneurship must be taught in schools, must be included in school curriculum?
I think entrepreneurship is not something you can teach someone, right? Because that's an outcome. When someone says I'm an entrepreneur, it's an outcome of number of things that are going on. So teaching entrepreneurship as such is a bit dodgy. It's not possible to teach someone. What is possible to teach is these things that are required. So when we talked about being passionate about something, so how do you cultivate passion? If someone is passionate about, say, painting, we have people saying, oh, don't do painting, do engineering. That probably we need to stop, right? Because if you're passionate about this, you will figure out the way to make money, to make your life. So that is number one. We need to start teaching more and cultivating more about the characteristics that are required to be an entrepreneur. And of course, there are certain tools, certain techniques that need to be taught. So rather than having this fixed mindset, which was, or curriculum, which was there for industrial age or corporate jobs only, because you taught something only because there was a job out there, right? That needs to stop. That job or not, this is the good life skill that needs to be taught. Say, for example, when we were taught addition or subtraction, nobody said that there is a job for doing an addition, so you need to learn it. We learned that because we knew that this is going to be helpful all our life. And that is why each one of us can do it. But at the same time, there are a number of other things which we are taught and nobody remembers because we don't see that value. So as a curriculum, as an education, the education has to point towards what is the life skill, what is the lifelong skill and ability that we need to develop. Once we have that ability, once our children have this ability, they can do whatever they want. They can be entrepreneur, they can be employee, they can be a good government employee, no matter what, but they will be a good person.
Again, sir, it was really a great message from your side. I think those who are watching this session, of course, they will be get benefited from it. Also, sir, thank you so much for giving your important time. It was a healthy discussion with you on the topic, and thank you so much, sir, for joining.
My pleasure, Harsh. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
You have a good day.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks for watching. Please like, share and subscribe.